What up? So last week we made this gem of a video where we broke down how to use the dual ring engine build. And I'm recording this video the day after recording that video from yesterday, but I completely forgot to talk about the extreme gear. The Babylon rogues would be disappointed. So I come to y'all today with this banger of a build. Take a look. So we got ring engine, perfect charge bounty, level 1 and level 2 quick charge, as well as the 130 ring limit. With this build, you can absolutely, positively keep up with the pros, and you can make some insane comebacks. Don't believe me? You'll see. My name is Bob King, or BK or King, and I'm a top 1000 aiming main in Crossworlds. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to compete with dual ring engine on the extreme gear. I've recorded an hour of footage just like in last week's tutorial, and I'll be breaking everything down in great detail on why this build is so powerful. I'll also be pointing out my mistakes in my play. If you like these types of analysis videos, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you never miss a video. Anyway, without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so first things first, we're up against the top 100 Ichiban and the top 100 AI SBO. I think they both were using dual ring engine, but it didn't matter because this build is even more powerful in the late game. This is because of the 130 ring limit. As long as you have more than 100 rings, you'll always be at your max speed, and your ring reserves won't decrease as fast because you're not running dual ring engine. In other words, your biggest priority is to spam your perfect charges and get past 100 rings as soon as possible. Just like how we talked about in the last video, make sure that you're taking your lines as sharp as you can and drive on the outer banks, hugging the walls to avoid item spam in the beginning. If you get hit and you need to recover, don't panic. Just concentrate on your perfect charges and rolling items. Once you've worked your way to first place, roll items as many times as possible until you get your defensive items. I know that my advice in this guide sounds almost exactly the same as in last week's guide, but that's because both builds are front-running builds. You should have over 100 rings by lap 2 or the end of lap 1 depending on what track you're on, like in this example right here. I let the red glove hit me because I anticipated that there was going to be a King Boom Boo. Unfortunately, my prediction was correct, but he doesn't happen until the flying section of Wily Castle, so I basically lost 50 rings for nothing. I tried to let, the Ichiban pass me, but instead there was a slime which ruined my entire plan, and yeah. You know what they say, hindsight doesn't win your games, but it does prepare you for future games. Looking back on it, what I would have done instead was I would have just driven normally until we got up to that the ramp, and then I would have let the obstacle hit me, so that way I would have lost 20 rings instead of 50. I love this race so much because it was poetic justice putting the Ichiban in his place at the end by giving him a taste of his own medicine with the tornado. As you can see, this build is safer than dual ring engine because of the 130 ring limit. Even if you get hit, you can get back to your peak speed in little to no time if you're urgent enough. So I got unlucky here with the portal. I wanted to use my laser to get an extension with it at the shortcut, but I was forced to use it early, which meant that I got less value out of it. Let me know down below in the comments if you want me to make a video about chaining items. I wouldn't mind explaining better ways to use items in general. Just let me know. Pretty good race overall. We got lucky with our item pulls and we didn't jump the gun when it came to using the monster truck. One thing we made a mistake on was the fact that we took a while to obtain 100 rings, but that wasn't completely our fault because we kept getting hit by items. The next race is gonna blow your mind when it comes to the comeback potential on this build. I'm not gonna talk over it, I'm just gonna let the game do the talking. Once again, what you want to do is you want to take as sharp of lines as you can, while also staying as right or left to the track as possible to avoid item spam. Also, don't forget about spamming your perfect charges so you get the most value out of your ring engine. Try to shoot for 100 rings by the end of lap 1. Not much to really say that hasn't already been said. We got unlucky with our items at the end, and they were both using dual ring engine. The guy to the left of me also got a boost wisp, so he won that. As you can see, the thumbnail wasn't lying. This build can keep up with the pro players, and it's honestly insane how powerful it is in the right hands. I think we lost to Spyray because he has the boost wisp, but I know for a fact that we gave him a hard time. Okay, so this right here is exactly what I meant by hugging the left or the right side of the lane. If you're on the left or right side, you can't get targeted by random item spam. The guy on my right side got hit by a slicer that more than likely would have probably hit me if I was in the middle. So like I said, try to stay to the left or right sides of the lanes and you should be good. The only time you should really be getting into the center of the lane is to collect rings. And as long as you remember like all of the ring placements and all of the ring lines, then that shouldn't even be a problem. If anything, what will really happen is with hours and hours and a lot of time into the labs, what you're gonna do is you're gonna remember when people like to spam their items. You're gonna understand like all of the placements where people like to, spam their items. There are obviously like wild cards. For example, ever since 1.3.1, level 4 got nerfed and everything, people are more wasteful with their tornadoes. I've noticed like they'll use their tornadoes for no reason. I want to make a video on this because it bugged me a lot during Legend Comp 4, but like you just saw it right there. Like that guy popped tornado for no reason. He wasn't in any danger, but he just wanted to use it, I guess. It didn't even help him really because I caught back up anyway, but I never understood why people like to just waste their tornadoes. I'm sorry if I'm going off on a tangent. So yeah, I think y'all get the point. Good driving and good line work is what helps you with this build. It takes a little bit of practice and getting used to since you're not using technical, but it's not that difficult. It was a little bit risky not taking the cut on the third lap, but I don't like to use it. Sometimes on the third lap, what happens is there will be a boom boo and then it'll slow me down. And other times there will be like a wait and it will just ruin everything. I knew I didn't have any defensive items, so I didn't take the chance. I actually predicted the slime, but it did come after when I would have taken the cut. But to me, it was just too risky. That was just me being careless. I should have actually timed it. I should have actually looked instead of just kind of jumping the gun. I was afraid I was going to fly into a wall or something. And here, that was just, I don't even know why that even happened. I just veered all the way to the right for some reason. And then, yeah, this is just me having poor reaction time. Like, I bounced off the wall into the monster truck. Yeah, that was just my bad. All of that was my bad. That could have all been avoided. You even saw that I tried to react to the monster truck, but they still got me. That was all just my fault. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier. He just wasted his tornado. He wasn't in any danger. He just did it because I honestly don't know why he did it. Okay, so right there, I made a judgment call. I thought that the monster truck was going to be over by the time that it reached me, but no, I was wrong. My poor judgment calls and poor reaction to things is what cost me this race. I think we ended up getting fourth. Yeah, we got fourth. I think y'all get the idea. Try to front run. It's very similar to dual ring engine. Use the side lanes to prevent getting item spammed. Once you get to the front, try and roll for defensive items. Yada yada yada. You get the point. That's basically the whole idea of this build. So this lobby was nothing but bots, but you get the idea. Take the shortcut on the first lap. I don't think I took the shortcut on the first lap because there was a dark shadow. It obscured my vision and I was getting pushed around, so I decided not to. I ended up taking the entire route, I just didn't take the cut. I think I take the cut on the third lap, I don't remember. But yeah. If there just so happens to be anything that you think might ruin your chances of taking the cut, don't even bother with the cut. That's my best advice for you. But if you don't have time to react, then at that point you're just kind of cooked. That's why the risk is high risk, high reward with the cut. But yeah, enjoy. So in conclusion, this build is strong enough to keep up with even the pros. It does have a high skill ceiling, but with plenty of practice, even a novice can become a demigod out there on the extreme gear. I urge you to try this build out if you have not already. Make sure to prioritize your perfect charges and stay on your ring lines just like with dual ring engine. Don't take any unnecessary risks and stay focused on the track. Items are crucial for front running, so be sure to constantly reroll for shields and tornadoes. Last but not least, make sure not to make yourself an easy target while snaking by keeping your lines on the side lanes at the beginning of races. When you're on the front run, you don't have to worry about that as much, but one thing I forgot to mention in this guide and in the dual ring engine guide was that the flying sections and the water sections are your best friend. You can collect rings faster on them due to the nature of the geometry, so take advantage of them. I think that just about covers the Demigod Extreme Gear Guide. If you have any questions, please be sure to leave them down below in the comments. Also comment some build suggestions and maybe I'll feature them into a future video. I also stream this game basically every day, so if you're really having trouble with the build, let me know there. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.